All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Brought to you by Pearl River Resort, Golden Moon Casino, Vegas-style sportsbook. Bet $50 there. Play award-winning Dancing Rabbit Golf Club for $40. Bet 50, play 40 on the property of Pearl River Resort. We're 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Thanks for hanging out with us, making us your sports and entertainment show of choice in the great state of Mississippi. And we're going to start this off with Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports. We're going to talk Charles Cross and Steve kind of reflecting on his recruitment and playing at Mississippi State. And then, of course, first-round pick for the Seahawks, now Super Bowl champ. And then in the next segment, we're going to get into Mississippi State baseball preview with Brian O'Connor, Aiden Till, Ace Reese, Dane Burns, Sullivan, and more. So Steve Robertson joins us on the show. Steve, what is your first memory when you first knew about Charles Cross on the radar from down there in Jones County?
Well, the first thing I said is it's good that we've got a bona fide left tackle prospect in the state of Mississippi. That didn't come around very often. We have a lot of guards. We have a few centers, and occasionally we have a right tackle. But it's kind of rare for this state to produce a left tackle prospect of that caliber. And, we felt like State was in a good spot with him, and then all of a sudden he commits to Florida State. And the thing that, my sources were saying in both Jones County and in Oktibbeha County is this thing is far from over, just give it time. And ultimately he does flip to Mississippi State late. But, yeah, he was a special young man for sure.
Now, walk me through it, Steve, because you keep up with this more than I do. He was a little bit different. For years, Sherrill and Mullen would grab guys that you needed to take weight off of. They'd grab a 300, 310, 320, 330 dude. Charles comes in at like 250 or 260, and they were able to, which is ideal, and they were able to stack weight on him. Do you remember, within whatever range, kind of when he ended up on campus, how much did he weigh?
It was at somewhere around 260,
okay,
if I remember correctly. But yeah, so it's like you get him in, and one of the things that happens a lot of times, too, with high school offensive linemen is they get overweight in high school, right? And then they get to campus, they get that baby fat off of them, and then you have to learn to play at a new playing weight because everything's a little different, right? It was the reverse for Charles. So he's able to add good weight. He gets in, learns proper technique, proper hand placement, and then his body is maturing as his knowledge of the game is maturing. And so, people forget. He didn't play hardly at all in the beginning because he just didn't have the mass.
Right.
And lo and behold, you put him out there. Even some of the offensive linemen then were saying, this dude is different. And so it was apparent early on that he had the athleticism. He had the footwork. He had the drive and the will to get better. He just needed to add some mass. And, of course, they get you on the nutrition plan and they get, a weight training program that is tailored specifically for you, your position, and your needs. And Charles embraced every bit of that. And now he's one of the highest-paid football players in the history of the National Football League.
$104 million last year. Charles Cross is a Super Bowl champ and first-round pick out of Mississippi State. I was in Las Vegas the night that he was picked and hung out with Mike Leach. And as Steve knows, because he knew Leach well, Leach didn't really want to talk a lot of football, but that night he opened up about what a great kid Charles Cross was. Was that your experience, that he was a fantastic young man, Steve?
Oh, absolutely. And I remember, he opted out of the bowl game, and everybody is like, oh man, yeah, I kind of get it. Yeah, this guy's fixing to sign a huge contract, and he didn't have anything to gain really by playing in the Armed Forces Bowl, But, the thing about Charles, I remember, meeting his family, they were not these kinds of people that had, stars in their eyes, right? It's just they were like, hey, we hope he gets a chance to play in college and do well, and then have the opportunity to play in the National Football League. That was the dream. Well, this family's living the dream now, probably a dream so incredibly vibrant they never even truly considered. You know, the fact that he's so incredibly well compensated and he's playing, considered one of the top left tackles in the game. You know, it's just like these are people from Jones County, Mississippi that, you know, that we run into at Walmart, you know, and it's such a great story, not just because Charles is such a good dude, but because of that family, so down to earth, so Mississippi, so grateful for everything, you know, for his time here at Mississippi State. I mean, you know, you'd see everybody in the family with, you know, with his jersey on, you know, and the number on the back. You know, they're incredibly supported people, and just, you know, it's so refreshing. I remember like the day that Charles committed, you know, I had a chance to talk to his dad, and it was like a superstar type moment for him, like to see his son play in Southeastern Conference, his son be able to stay reasonably close to home so they can take part in all of it. And now you look at what's happened, you know, what it's become. You know, it's just such a great, great story.
But help me out. Did he play 1 year with Moorhead and 2 years with Leach, Steve?
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Cause,
okay.
You know, I got to go back and get the timeline right, because Marcus Johnson was very much a part of that recruitment. You know, and to be honest with you, if Marcus isn't here, I don't know if State gets him. You know, because they just kind of stayed on him. You know, and Marcus, good coach, probably an even better recruiter, and he was instrumental in getting them, you know, flipped. Now, I'm double checking my numbers right here, but I think you're right about that. I think
now, weren't they competing with Tim Brewster at Florida State, and that was when Saban was absolutely rolling? So it was a damn battle, right?
Yeah, it was an absolutely legit recruiting battle, right? And this is where geography helps you a little bit, you know, and you have an opportunity, of course, to, you know, get a guy. Yeah, it's his class of 19. Yeah,
okay.
Class of 19. Forget the Moorhead year, but yeah, to make a long story short, I'm gonna get my timeline mixed up a little bit here, but yeah, this was not a situation where State got him by default. This is a situation where Marcus Johnson did a great job staying on a young man that thought he knew where he wanted to go. And like when Charles committed to Florida State, like he took the whole family out there. It wasn't like it was just something where he just made an emotional decision at the end of a visit. Like everybody went out there, and everybody was on board with going to Florida State. And then ultimately, you know, Marcus Johnson and those guys found a way to convince him, you know what, this is going to be a better situation for you. And you know what? It proved to be.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. Charles Cross, Super Bowl champ out of Jones County, went to Mississippi State, first-round pick, Seahawks, and has just gotten better and better and signed a $104 million deal this past year. Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. We're going to take a break, and Steve's going to go, we're going to go heavy Mississippi State baseball. So Aiden Teal, Ace Reese, Dane Burns, Garrick Fry, among other, Ryan McPherson. I mean, that's like every 5 minutes I run into somebody and they want to talk about Valencius. Or I may have just butchered that, from Virginia. But now I'm hearing more about Ryan McPherson. I mean, Steve's going to know way more of what's going on, and evidently there have been some hella battles going on the last 4 or 5, last fall, and then picking it up the last 4 weeks or so, as opening day is Friday. Steve Robertson will go to every game, all 56 games. He'll watch every single pitch of every single inning. MSU Baseball Preview with Steve Robertson, brought to you by Two Brothers and Older Brother Restaurants in Starkville. That's the place to go this baseball season.